من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله إله العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم Tell Adina, you know, and darling, get you back to be late. While I'm
God, we want to come to you right now and just say thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for your presence in this place. God, I ask that you give each person here peace and know that healing is a process, but it is attainable. God, I ask that you give each and every person here strength because you are the healer of our souls. God, I ask that every word that's said here today be a source of uplifting for each and every individual that needs it. God, I ask that each word meet them where they are and that they may leave from this place knowing that whatever pain that they're dealing with right now will soon subside. All these requests we ask in your Son Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. I'm going to share a piece with you that's in line with the theme, From Wounds to Wisdom, and the piece is entitled, From Pain to Purpose. Proverbs 20 and 30 reads, "The scars of past wounds are medicine for evil, and living reproof reaches the most secret places in the inward parts. Your wise eyes are a cover-up for the pain you've endured. Your mind holds on to etched memories that cannot be erased. Internally, you're bleeding because your scars have yet to heal. Your pain runs deep like poisonous venom, trickling slowly through your veins. Every breath is forced because the pain is so unbearable, it restricts the circulation of air. The thought of death revisits you often, but you just can't seem to think it through. Why? Because, my sisters, God still has a plan for you. The turmoil that you tuck away in your bosom is what the devil uses to keep you bound, not realizing true freedom only surfaces once those shackles are broken down. You've dealt with more than most, but don't allow this to be how your story ends. Your life is more precious than you realize, and with faith and God's help, you will rise again. But that means you will have to be transparent and allow others to read what you've gone through, because only then will that secret no longer have a hold on you. It's time for you to take your life back and experience what it means to be free. because you are your greatest strength. And now it's time to replant that seed. And you're right, it won't be easy, but it will all be worthwhile, because the voice you use may just spare that next unsuspecting child. So pray, fast, and seek God's divine direction, but please don't delay, because one more day of silence may just be a little too late. So I also have the pleasure of bringing up Sister Ebony Muhammad, and she is the publisher of Hurt to Healing magazine, which is celebrating 5 years of publication. She served as the assistant event coordinator during the 2006 Hurt to Healing March and Rally Against Domestic Violence, from Hurt to Healing Protecting the Essence of Our Sisters, which was an event organized by men for women during the Essence Music Festival weekend in Houston, Texas. Ms. Muhammad is a certified thanologist specializing in grief and bereavement with a background in forensic psychology. She is also a published writer and photographer. She also specializes in web design. In 2013 and 14, Hurt to Healing magazine was listed as a finalist in the Black Weblog Awards for Best Health or Wellness Blog. Ms. Muhammad is the proud owner of Origins Massage Spa, the first spa establishment to use food-based products in all spa treatments. Her motto is, if it's not safe enough to eat, why would you put it on your skin? I'd like to introduce you to the organizer of today's Turning Wounds into Wisdom of Transformation Summit, Sister Ebony Muhammad.
Please give another round of applause for Sister Wakili Muhammad and Sister Felicia for opening us up in prayer properly. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is but one God, and I bear witness that Muhammad is his messenger. I'd like to greet each and every one of you with the greeting words of peace, of Assalamu alaikum, which simply means peace be unto you. For those who are tweeting live, please use the hashtag wounds2wisdom. As stated before, I'm Sister Ebony Muhammad, the publisher of Hurt to Healing magazine. And I would like to thank you for taking some time out of your day to come to this very special event, especially for women and girls, the fight against domestic violence and sexual abuse. Before we go any further, I would like for each sister to look to the sister to her right. Introduce yourself and repeat after me. I am so happy that you're sitting here with me. Because today we will kick off our transformation together. Now give her at least one compliment. It could be her hair, her outfit, a hug, yes. Beautiful. Now I think it's important that we do this, to show each other love, because unfortunately as women, we do this too seldom. And I think that the beauty about this is that in spite of our pain, we can come past that and show ourselves some love and show each other some love. So this setting is for women only. However, our brothers have the ability to tune in via allrealradio.com. And I think it's very important for them to get this raw account from women who have experienced pain, from girls who have experienced pain, so that they can understand exactly what we go through and they can have the opportunity to tune in and listen live. So typically at events like this, you'll hear statistics. And yes, you'll hear them here, but it will be later on during the panel discussion. So right now, I want to give a little bit of background about Hurt to Healing magazine and how this event started. As Sister Felicia mentioned, the original Hurt to Healing March and Rally took place during Essence Festival in 2006, and it was entitled Protecting the Essence of Our Sisters. And it was a groundbreaking march and rally that was led by Brothers Deric and Muhammad. And so I was blessed to be the assistant coordinator. And from there, I approached the both of them and asked them, how can we extend this so that it doesn't just stay at this one particular moment? And so from there, I designed a digital publication that expanded from just domestic violence and sexual abuse, but also substance abuse, depression, media, entertainment, and relationships, spiritual health and wellness. So Hurt to Healing magazine, affectionately referred to as H2H magazine, offers a glimpse of hope that there is life after painful experiences. H2H magazine provides a support system through each article and interview by letting the reader know that they are not alone and that someone lived to tell their story with a smile on their face and with a renewed mind and spirit. They acquired wisdom, they became transformed. And so we've had the opportunity to interview various celebrities and public figures, as well as some of the individuals you'll be hearing from today, and many others who opened up and shared their story and their testimony to be an inspiration to all of those who come and visit the website. And so from all of the above, Origins Massage Spa was conceived. When I was working in forensic psychology, I had the opportunity to work with clients who were suffering from physical ailments that actually stemmed from their emotional trials. And so I saw the need to not only address one, but to address both because they go hand in hand. And so I was already familiar with massage therapy because of the sports that I played. And so from there, I just went into a formal training, an advanced training, so that I could open up Origins Massage Spa. So from there, Origins Massage Spa features food-based products for all of the spa treatments. We use organic sugars, cocoa butter, aloe vera, cocoa oil, chocolates, cocoa, aloe vera, bentonite clay that derives from volcanic ash and it's really good for detoxifying, sunflower seed oil, olive oil, and various essential oils incorporating their natural healing properties to stimulate a therapeutic experience unlike any other. And so I've had the opportunity to work at the plush spas at the hotels, as also the clinic spas as well. And so each person that comes into Origins Massage Spa will have a customized session. Not one session is alike. And so therefore, Hurt to Healing and Origins Massage Spa takes a holistic approach to healing to address the emotional, the physical, and the spiritual. So turning wounds into wisdom, the reason you are here today. From that dire need of addressing an age-old issue, a global epidemic of abuse and violence against women and girls. And even in 2014, it seems to be increasing versus declining. So with modern technology, you can no longer hide it. It can no longer be swept under the rug. And it becomes more visible and apparent in this drastic change that needs to take place. So Hurt to Healing magazine seeks to be the conduit to that much needed change, along with many other organizations, to bring awareness and resolution to the victims, the survivors, and their supporters, as well as the general public. So now I would like to give you the opportunity to hear more insight behind H2H. I would like to present and introduce one of the founders. But before I bring him up, I have to give his brother Jillian Muhammad, who is the co-founder of Hurt to Healing, a very honorable mention. He wasn't able to make it today because he's out of town working on behalf of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Twitter book, The Teachings 2.0 tour. And so he has offered about 5 personally signed copies of this compilation of the Twitter sayings of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan for our giveaway. Yes. And so, although he's not here physically, he does extend the greetings of peace and love to all of the sisters to let you know that although some of our hurt and our pain came at the hands of a man, there are good men out here who will stand up and fight against the abuse and violence against women. So we must thank him for his support. Yes, give him a round of applause. So with that being said, I would like to bring up another good brother that is also a warrior for respecting, protecting, and honoring the woman. He is the founder of Project Forward, an organization for men and boys who seek to strengthen brotherhood, manhood, and the community. He is the organizer for the Black Male Summit that just recently celebrated its 5th annual last week. He is a published author of the book ASAP, A Street Activist Perspective. He is the spokesperson for the Houston Millions More Movement Ministry of Justice. He is the founder of Hurt to Healing. I give you Brother Deric Muhammad.
In the name of Almighty God, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that regardless of landmass, language, or label, that there is but one God. And we thank that God for waking us up this morning and allowing us to be here to address such a critical issue such as domestic violence. Let me first say thank you very much to my dear sister, Sister Ebony Muhammad. We're so proud of the work that she's done and the way of creating a platform for women and girls and men as well to express that which we are going through, those real issues that oftentimes are not expressed in mainstream media. And I believe that it is prudent that we give her a round of applause for all of the great work that she's done with Her Healing magazine and for pulling this beautiful event together. Now, I am going to, from my understanding, be the only male speaker on the program. So I need y'all to say a quick prayer for me because I want to make sure I don't say nothing wrong. But I want to say that I believe that I speak for every black and brown man in America when I speak out against domestic violence today. As a child, I witnessed violence against my mother. As a man today, thanks to Hurt to Healing magazine, I have an opportunity to speak out against it. So I don't want to waste time at all. We want to get right to it. Let me first state my position on domestic violence. I believe that the only time a man's hands should be placed around a woman's neck is when he's helping her to put on the necklace that he just bought for her.
That's right.
I believe that the only time a man should clench his fist in front of a woman is when he's getting ready to defend her, not to destroy her. For any man who would use the God-given power that he has been given by the Creator to destroy a woman is a man who, in essence, has lost his mind. So when we see domestic violence in the home, when we see domestic violence sometimes in the elevator, know that this is a sickness that has come about due to the lack of knowledge. The Bible says that my people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. So I think I speak for Ray Rice too when I say that domestic violence is not the way to go. But as black men in America, we have been taught to cultivate our bodies, to run touchdowns, to shoot three-pointers, to be the fastest man on the track. But we have not been trained to cultivate our minds. So we calling this thing today wounds to wisdom. The reason we have so many wounds is because we don't have enough wisdom. We don't have enough wisdom. So the lack of education is one of the reasons that a man will hit a woman. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan teaches us that the reason you feel like you got to use your fist is because you don't have enough in your head to deal with the woman that is in front of you. Now, some may say, well, Brother Deric, there are educated men who hit their women as well. I agree. But the kind of education that they have been given is not the kind of education that I'm talking about. I'm talking about an education that teaches us the value of the female. And until we place the proper value on the female, we will continue to have the problems that we're having. Can I get an amen? Amen. Sisters, not only should the man know the value of the female, it is more important that you yourself place the proper value on yourself. Because when you place the proper value on yourself, then when a man raises his hand to hit you, then you know that that's a situation that you got to get out of, or one that he's got to get out of, but you know that you have not been put here on earth to be a punching bag for any man. Right. So the value of the female is something that we got to understand. How valuable is the female? Well, the female is so valuable that if there were no such thing as a female, there would be no such thing as me. No matter how much value you place on Jesus, he had to come through a woman. Yes, sir. No matter how much value you place on Moses and Abraham and all of the great men and women that we love, every last one of us had to come through a woman. So we are taught in the Nation of Islam that the woman is God's co-creator. We are taught that God created himself in triple darkness, and he studied the best part of himself, and once he found the best part of himself, he developed that into what we now call the woman. So when you realize that you are God's second self, then you know that you don't have to settle for less than what it is that you are worth. So the more value we place on you, the less we have to worry about the standards of beauty that have been given to us that come from Europe. Can I get an amen? Amen. For long time, we have been told that the standard of beauty is the white female.
Yes, sir.
Am I lying?
No, sir.
And if we were taught that the standard of beauty was the white female, then the more black features you have, the more brown features you have, when you, my sister, look in the mirror, you don't see something that is as beautiful as you should see. Why? Because you see yourself from the way the world sees you. You don't see yourself based on the way that God sees you.
Right.
So when you get a little pimple on your face, you go into the restroom and you start applying this thing called makeup. But I want you to look at the language of that word, makeup. See, when you go to school and you go in and you take your exam, if you don't do so well on your exam, you go back and you ask the professor, what? Can I have a makeup exam? Why? Because you feel like you just didn't do good enough. So when you look at the language and the way it spins around in your subconscious mind, you feel like the reason you have to put on makeup is because naturally you are not good enough. But I'm here today to tell you, my sister, that you are good enough. That if you want to put on a little lipstick to enhance your beauty, that's fine. But I want you to hear today from a brother, you are already beautiful. You're already beautiful. In our community, when you go to get your hair done, they call it what? A beauty shop. Since when did beauty become something that you have to go and shop for? If you got to go and shop for beauty, that means that you don't already have it. See, the world tells you that beauty is something that takes place from the outside in. But in truth, beauty is something that takes place from the inside out. That's right. So the more and more you take a look at yourself, and the more we begin to define ourselves by what it is that God says about us, the more and more we place a greater value on self, and the less and less we'll take in some of these relationships that have become destructive to us. So I will leave you, brothers and sisters. Excuse me. See, I'm so used to speaking to men. Lord have mercy. So I leave you, sisters, with something that I've done that I've never done before. I wrote a poem. Now, and I'm not as good at this as the sister that came before you. So I want you to bear with me. Matter of fact, I want you to go ahead and snap your fingers right now. You ain't even heard what I'm about to say, but snap your fingers like you like it, all right? The name of this poem is called A Black Man's Hands. And it goes like this. These hands were made for working. These hands were made to build. These hands were made to pray for strength to do the Master's will. These hands were made to cultivate, to sweat and work the field. These hands ain't made to hurt you. These hands are made to heal. These hands were made to point the way for freedom for my people. To fight the fight of justice until everyone is equal. These hands ain't made to fight my sister or to choke her by the neck. These hands are made by God Almighty to defend her to the death.
Yes, sir.
So today I raise my hands up high and pledge with all my might to use these hands for what they were made for, to fight for what is right. So on behalf of every black man in America, I raise my hands the same way they're raising their hands all across America, saying, hands up, don't shoot. I'm saying to my brothers, when it comes to our sisters, our women and girls, hands up, don't hit. Thank you so much for listening to me as I greet you in peace. Assalamu alaikum.
Oh, let's give him another round of applause for that. Beautiful word. All right, so now we are moving to our featured speakers today, but before we do that, I must take a short commercial break to acknowledge a few awesome sponsors for today's event. M-Line Design by Brother Deric Muhammad. He is the graphics artist who constructed the official Wounds to Wisdom flyer. Ahmed Video Designs. He produced the official Wounds to Wisdom commercial. And All Real Radio, who is broadcasting live at this event, and you can go on to allrealradio.com to learn more. Their slogan is, "We make the world better." And this station is an independent, Black-owned and operated by DJ Zen and his awesome assistant, Denise. She's over here to my right. Zen is over here to my left. And so this station features soul music, hip-hop, R&B, meditation, nutrition, community, interviews, and knowledge-filled programs. This is one of the only stations with such a variety. You won't be disrespected or called out of your name. Your children can tune in, and it improves the condition of your thinking with positive vibes. With anything independent, it requires support, and this brother's station is worthy of our support. So before you leave, and upon inspiration, be sure to show our brother some love in any way you feel led. He's drowning out the pollution to give us some life. So I thank you, All Real Radio. We make the world better. Give them a round of applause, all three. So our first main speaker for today is Miss Kelly Sargeant. Beautiful sister. I met her through Brother Deric, and the first time I spoke with her, it was as if I knew her for my whole life. She's an international award-winning speaker, placed third in the World Championship in Malaysia. And the subject she spoke on was her experience with being molested as a child. What courage it takes to stand before an entire world, to bear your vulnerabilities and to take command over them, to inspire a room full of strangers. Her story was featured in the November edition of Her to Healing magazine, and after reading it, you will see clearly that she is a walking testimony and a beam of light for all of us.
Right.
A glimpse of hope and reassurance that no matter what you're going through, you are not alone, and there is life on the other side of pain. So I present to you Miss Kelly Sargeant.
I was a typical, playful, happy little girl. I loved to play outside with my friends. We would jump rope, play hide and seek, and ride our bikes from street to street. I loved to meet at the community pool. We would meet at the pool, and we would play tag in the water. And then we would have a contest. Who could jump off of the diving board and make the biggest splash? I loved Girl Scouts. I loved Girl Scouts and summer camp. We would spend a night at each other's houses, and we would play with our Barbie dolls. We were innocent little girls, filled with hopes and dreams. We were invincible. Or so I thought. One day, in less than 24 hours, everything changed. I was no longer that happy little girl. And no one knew why. Because I kept a deep, dark secret. I suffered for over 30 years in silence. When I became an adult, everybody would look at me and they would say, "Wow, she's so confident." They would look at me and say, "She's such a happy lady. She looks like she has it all together." Have you ever heard of that saying, "Don't judge a book by its cover"? You look at a book, it looks real attractive on the outside. But then when you open it up and you look at the inside, you start reading it and you realize it's not what you expected. That was me. I was in a professional suit. Nails done, hair done, everything done. I walked with my shoulders back and my head up with a big old smile on my face. The outside cover looked real attractive. But the inside had things you never expected. My heart was filled with sadness and depression. My eyes were filled with tears that I held back. My mind was filled with negative thoughts like, "You are not worthy. It's all your fault. No one is ever going to love you." Why did I feel that way? Why? Because I was suffering from a robbery. A man stole my virginity. When he stole it, he also stole my childhood, my trust, my self-confidence, my self-esteem, my self-worth, my security. I was the victim of identity theft. I didn't know who I was anymore. The crime had a long-lasting effect on my livelihood. The offender was my stepfather. The first time he violated me, I was 8 years old. And he crept into my bedroom while I was asleep. And he asked, "Come here." Okay. I followed him and I sat on the edge of my mother's bed and he said, "Can you keep a secret?" "Yeah, I can keep a secret." Then he handed me marijuana and told me to take a drag. What is this stuff? Then he pulled down his pants and asked me to touch him. I didn't do it. I was afraid. Then he pulled down my panties. And he began touching me between my legs. I was afraid. He let me go back to my room, and I laid there in my bed crying softly so he wouldn't hear me because I was afraid. A few moments later, he came back for me. I was so afraid. He took me by the hand and led me into the kitchen and laid me across a chair. I was so afraid. He pulled down my pants and he pulled down his and he started forcing himself on me. I was so afraid. I stared at a spot on the wall, completely silent, but I was yelling and screaming and crying on the inside. I was afraid. My innocence was stolen, and my life was shattered in one treacherous night. I became one of the hundreds of thousands of children who are abused by a relative in their own home. At age 8, I was lost, and I had nowhere to turn for direction. Who would believe me? Besides, he said he would hurt me. He said he would hurt my mommy. That's why I kept that secret. I was so afraid. The abuse continued to happen. But one day, he made me so mad, I found the courage to tell my mother. I said, "Mommy, I have something very important I need to tell you. Johnny asked me to keep a secret. He told me if I tell you, he would hurt us." I told my mother everything. She immediately called the cops. When he came home, he was arrested. But although he was removed from the home, I was lost because he had stolen everything from me. I spent so many years searching for my identity. I searched through sexual relationships. I searched through homosexuality. I searched through drugs and alcohol. I searched in all the wrong places. Many years later, I finally found myself, after so many years of feeling hopeless. The breakthrough had come after I had become completely desperate to escape my misery. I was tired of trying to be the strong one, trying to pretend that I was okay while I was helping everybody else deal with their problems. I was tired. I was tired of always having to protect myself. I was tired of bad choices in relationships, all in the name of trying to be loved. I was tired of always trying to cover up the pain by using coping mechanisms that made me feel like crap in the morning. I was tired of being insecure around boys and men. I was tired of the vicious cycle, always running and getting nowhere. I just couldn't take it anymore. The thing is, through all of that, I knew that deep down inside, I was destined for something more. I had no idea what it was, but I was absolutely sure that I had the potential for more. However, I just needed to be normal first. I wanted a healthy relationship. I wanted confidence. I wanted success. I wanted happiness. I just wanted to like me. But I couldn't because the psychological and emotional scars held me hostage. I had to ask myself, what can I do to be free? What can I do to be free? I decided to make a bold move. I disassociated myself with all negativity. Activities, friendships. You see, the reason why it was bold is because that's all I knew. I needed to do something different. I wanted to change my life, and I wanted to find direction. I needed to become a better me. So I decided to renew my mind. Goodbye, negative thoughts. Hello, positivity. I began reading inspirational quotes, self-help books, spiritual books. The quotes inspired me. The self-help books gave me hope that I can find healing. I can find healing. The spiritual books made me believe. I added gospel music to my playlist instead of just hip hop and R&B. The gospel music uplifted me. Great things started to happen for me. Even things that I prayed about, when they didn't come to pass, it was okay. Because whatever happened, it turned out to be the best for me. So I started trusting God. I said to myself, whatever happens, it is according to His will. And it always ended up being better than I had ever imagined. By replenishing my mind with positivity, I became hopeful. Discovering hope gave me the courage to try other things. So day by day, I tried something. One by one, I set small goals. Day by day, I worked on them. Piece by piece, I overcame challenges. And step by step, I succeeded. Accomplishing a goal has a domino effect because when you accomplish a goal, your confidence increases. I found confidence. I'm like, yay! I can do this! So I started accomplishing another one. Yay! Oh my God, this is great! My confidence made me feel, that I can keep doing more. And eventually, I realized, oh my God, I'm actually worth something. I have something to offer. My confidence was increased. I felt a sense of worth. I had gained self-respect. Finally, I liked myself. I became happy. And let me tell you, I made sure to note how that happened because I never wanted to be lost again. Ever. How did I do this? I had renewed my mind. and I watched what I put in it. I was careful who I spent my time with. I wanted to be around people who encouraged me, who gave me hope, who pushed me along and saw something in me like I saw in myself. Girl, you can do this. Those are the people I wanted to be around. I was careful to watch what I listened to. The music, the lyrics, and that I sing and that I rap, I want them to empower me. I want them to inspire me. I want to sing something good. I want to feel good when I'm singing it. So I had to be careful what I was listening to. I had to be careful what I watched on television. I wanted what I watched to motivate me, make me feel, whoa, I could do this. I could do that. That sounds great. Ooh, I have an idea. I was careful to read stuff that would stimulate my mind, make the creative juices start flowing. I renewed my mind. It was like I had pressed the reset button and got a fresh new start. I'm not saying that things didn't get rough, but I had a solution. I had written it down. I made note what brought me out. So if I started slipping, I could press the reset button. When I had a bad day, I'd pray. When I failed at something, I tried it again. When I made a mistake, I forgave myself. When I was feeling insecure, I read some inspirational quotes. The journey of finding myself, of accepting myself, of liking myself was a transformation. It transformed my life. I was able to find all the things he had stolen from me. And I began to dream again. And I began to feel invincible again. Ladies, life has knocked us down. I know that it's shown me parts of myself that I never wanted to see. We have a lot of sadness and a lot of failures. But one thing I know for sure is that we get back up. We have all survived. And we can thrive. We are not defined by these unfortunate circumstances. We have control over our lives, and we can decide our future. I want you to remember a few things. And the first thing is, you are not alone. 1 in 5 women are abused. That means when you're at a dinner party with your girlfriends, let's say there's only 5 of you, at least one at that table. Little girls, when you are on a bus going to school, if it's a full bus, about 14 passengers have been abused. When you're in your classroom, at least 5 have been abused. We're not alone. We have survived, and we can thrive. I also want you to know that there is recovery. Recovery is possible. I am living proof. Tyler Perry is living proof. Oprah Winfrey is living proof. Maya Angelou is living proof. There are so many that have risen and prosper despite what's happened to them. Number one, we're not alone. Number two, recovery is possible. Number three, the first step towards healing is speaking up. I realize that speaking up may be painful. However, remaining silent is so much more painful. Speak to somebody you trust. Your mother, your mother's friend, your pastor, your doctor, your counselor. Speak to someone you trust. It's never too late to speak up. Remember that speaking up is the beginning of the healing process. We have survived, and we can thrive. Please, ladies, repeat after me. I can thrive.
I can thrive.
I can thrive.
I can thrive.
Thank you very much.
Give her another round of applause. So our next featured speaker, you may hear her voice on a daily basis on 97.9 The Box, Miss Jillian J.J. Simmons. Yes, go ahead, one round of applause. She is an entertainer, philanthropist, mother, author. I met her about a year ago at the Black Web Blog Awards, and then had the opportunity to see her again recently at her I Me tour, where she visits various middle schools and high schools to teach girls how to love themselves and how they can be a role model. I attended one of her events and was instantly inspired. Her work is featured in Her to Healing magazine as well, and what it really means to be a positive influence on girls, as opposed to what the world has, which is the complete opposite. She makes it look so easy. A very warm spirit and a contagious smile. She is unafraid to share the insecurities that she once had and how she's transformed them into inspiration and inner strength. I present to you Jillian J.J. Simmons.
Hello. Hello. Well, I have never spoken at a podium this big before in my life. Oh, I'm used to walking around, but today I just wanted to share with you an experience. I think that it's the biggest part of healing is being transparent. You know, we gotta talk about some things, right? People have to be able to learn some things. My daughter is here, she's 8 years old. She's probably tired of hearing me speak, but I wanted to soak in, you know? So I wrote this book that I've still been trying to release. It's called Without Bruises. And it's called Without Bruises because I was in a relationship with somebody who was mentally and emotionally abusive. And I think that not having any bruises on my body made it worse. And so I was telling my friends, man, if I would have had a bruise on my face, maybe people could have understood a little bit more about what was going on, because the pain was just as worse. So I met this guy. He was cute, okay? I thought he was fine. And he popped into my life at a certain time when I had just gotten divorced. And, you know, he was too good to be true, okay? I told my friends, I said, this man, I actually said this in my book, he was the best thing that ever happened to me and the worst thing that ever happened to me, all at the same time. So he was very intelligent, he was very smart, he was very intriguing. And his conversation you'd have to pull out your phone and look up Google real quick to try to find out some of these words he was talking about. I just was like, man, he's so smart. And he would just seem perfect. And so what happened was, I hung out with this guy for some time, and I got to know him. I thought I was getting to know him. I thought he was getting to know me. And certain things would pop up that would catch my attention, but I would let it slide. It started with my Facebook page. Who has Facebook in here? I know more than 4 of y'all have Facebook. Thank you. So he would tell me, I don't like your Facebook profile picture. I need you to change it. I'm gonna need you to change that today. Oh, okay, well, all right, I'll change it. What picture do you want on there? It started with that, and then it went on to my Twitter pictures. And then it would go to the pictures that would be on flyers for different events that I would host. And then it was the clothes that I would wear. Then it would go to the makeup that I wore on my face. And I found myself constantly wanting to make him happy. And then came my skin. I have vitiligo. Does anybody know what vitiligo is? Michael Jackson had vitiligo, okay, right? And so I have these white patches on my skin, mostly on my hands, and some of them are on my back. So you can imagine, I had just developed vitiligo, it wasn't that long ago. I didn't have it when I was little. So you've always looked a certain way, and then all of a sudden these spots start popping up, and I'm starting to feel a little bit insecure. Man, where are these spots coming from? I go to the dermatologist. The dermatologist said, well, you have vitiligo, and there's not really much you can do about it. Put some creams on there, they might go away, but probably not. So one day, now he's my boyfriend, he says to me, I don't like these spots. Well, what do you want me to do about it? He's like, you need to do something to cover them up. You should get a tattoo. And believe it or not, I did. I covered up one of the spots. And then time went on and more spots started to pop up, and he looked disgusted when he looked at me. And I had a lot of spots that were popping up on my back. What's also interesting is about vitiligo is they say stress makes it worse. So can you imagine being in a situation where you're trying to please somebody and you're stressed over it because it's something I can't control. So he goes to the computer and he pulls up a picture of a dragon that he wants me to tattoo on my back. I did not do it. But let me tell you something that really stood out to me about this relationship. I had found this article about vitiligo, and it said for natural healing, talked about not eating eggs and orange juice. So I would go to this man's house. He would make me breakfast. What do you think he made me for breakfast? Not only did he make this scrambled eggs and cream of wheat and orange juice, but it would be displayed on the table like something so elegant. Okay? And I want you to understand, it didn't make sense to me because I told you I can't eat scrambled eggs and orange juice. And every time I come to your house, you make scrambled eggs and orange juice. And you put it in front of me like it's an elegant meal. And he would argue with me. I would say, why are you making this? What do you mean why am I making this? I'm doing this for you. Look at how nice this is. I'm doing this for you. I didn't have to make breakfast for you. I did this for you. And I would eat it. Because my mind kept saying, oh my gosh, he did take the time to do this for me. So many other things happened that I don't even have time to tell you. You're going to have to read the book. We'll be here all day. But I will say, I remember driving a couple of hours to see my father. And I told my father, for the first time, because my father had been battling illness, about this relationship with this guy. And my dad said to me, this man is a sociopath.
Yes, Dad. Come on.
And my dad, he was a retired police officer, and I said, Daddy, he ain't no sociopath. He got problems, but he's not a sociopath. And my dad, the look, I can't forget the look on my father's face. And he said, Jillian, you have been in an abusive relationship. Now, what I'm telling you is just a part of it, you know? But I'm telling you something that I didn't realize was abuse. I didn't get it. And so my dad begged me to get help. And you know, I thought I was grown. So I was like, well, Daddy, I don't really need to get any help. He the one that needs some help, okay? I got out the relationship. I thought I was doing something by just doing that. My dad said, you need to get some help. So my dad would come up with all of these 5,000 different organizations in my city that he would want me to go and sit down and talk to these people. And I said, Daddy, I can't do that because I'm a radio personality. I can't show up at somebody's little meeting and talk because all eyes will be on me. I can't let people know that this happened to me. So time went on, and I went into depression, and this man started to stalk me. And has anybody gone through depression before?
Yes, ma'am.
Woo! I lost myself. Like Kelly had mentioned, losing yourself. I did not understand what was going on. And it was almost like, because I started to grasp what happened in that relationship, when the reality started to sink in and the smoke started to clear, I was scared. Because the first thing I thought was, well, how could I let myself be in a relationship with this man that did all this stuff to me? I know better. And then I started to blame myself. And then my skin started to get worse. And then I went through the darkest time of my life where I did not want to live anymore. But I had this little girl who is so awesome. And I was like, ooh, I gotta stick around. I have to be around. And so I took my father's advice. Y'all have no idea. I saw my father cry for the first time ever when my father was sitting here telling me, we gotta get you to the doctor. You know who are parents? Raise your hand if you're a parent. You know the love that you have for your kids is something you can't even explain. It's something bigger than anything else. And to see my father cry, I'm like, he really thinks there's something wrong with me. So I started counseling. And I went to a therapist. I had to go to a psychiatrist first because I had to get on medication. I don't like medicine. I don't. I know that there are other ways to heal. At that time, I could not sleep. I had anxiety. I was paranoid. I was super, super depressed. And I needed something to, calm all that down so I could focus. And I went to a psychiatrist. I had to take medicine. I went to a therapist. I went to therapy, believe it or not. I just finished therapy. It's been about 3.5 years. Just over it seems like it's a small experience, right? You was in therapy for 3 years? Why are people so scared of therapy? Why? Because this is the stigma. Because this is the issue I have with that. If you broke your elbow, you're gonna go straight to the doctor because you can't do nothing for you. Okay? But your brain, which is the most important organ in your body, it controls everything. No brain, ain't nothing happening.
Right.
But we don't want to go and talk to somebody. Ain't nobody gonna tell me about me. And I don't want anybody in my business. But you all on Facebook, telling all your business all day. And so honestly, I felt the same way until I saw my father cry. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. So I went to therapy, and I learned a lot about myself in therapy. I had to learn, and this is the thing about therapy, and we have some counselors here that are gonna speak. You have to find out the reason that led you to that point where you could meet somebody who could treat you like that, and you thought it was okay. And so I learned so much about myself through therapy. Therapy was the best thing that could ever happen to me. I'm an advocate of therapy. Go sit on somebody's couch, chair, stool, and talk to somebody about the things that are going on. Okay. I just wanted to encourage anybody who's in this room that may be going through some things. As Kelly said before, there is a way out. You have to first recognize. I didn't recognize. I had friends that were like, please get out of this relationship, please. Sometimes people who love you can see the things you can't see because you're so wrapped up into it. So please listen, especially the young people, because the young people think they know everything. I know, I did too. But when your family is telling you to be aware of something, it's important that we at least try to consider it and take time. And then also just understanding, once you recognize it, it's time to say goodbye to that relationship. It's time to say goodbye. And then not being afraid to ask for help. I had to, during that time, that year that I went through depression, I had to ask people, can somebody please get my daughter? I don't want her to see me crying all day. Could somebody please come pick her up? Don't be afraid to ask for help. It's hard sometimes because we have our pride. Pride didn't even exist. Because I was like, I gotta get better. So thank you for allowing me this time to just share my story. I appreciate it.
One more round of applause for Ms. Jillian. Thank you so much. Now, our final featured speaker for today is Ms. Mavis Jackson. A mother of five, yet a mother figure to many more. She is the founder of Overcomers Foundation Incorporated, a licensed chemical dependency counselor, and a recent graduate with a Bachelor's of Science in Psychology from the University of Phoenix. Yes, that deserves a round of applause. She was featured on the cover of Hurt to Healing magazine's December 2010, and she was telling her story of how she survived domestic violence and substance abuse. To me, she is the epitome of what doesn't kill you, only makes you stronger. She is a witness that God's plan is much greater than any trial we could ever experience. I give you Miss Mavis Jackson.
Good afternoon. Well, first of all, I want to thank Sister Jillian for an awesome introduction. And it was all true, so she didn't fabricate any of it. And first I want to say what a privilege and a pleasure it is to be one of the speakers at this awesome event. When she brought the idea to me, I was like, yes. And I was excited because I have, in my counseling profession, come across many, many women that qualify as a survivor and many, many women that qualify for suffering in silence. Because many times, the first time that they even felt comfortable mentioning it was in my office. And they were well into their womanhood at that time. So I'm grateful for Sister Ebony putting this together. And I pray, my prayer is that everybody gets what is here for them. Because I believe there's something here for everybody, okay? We have different speakers because there's different ways of presenting it to you. And it is my belief that each person will connect at some point with someone's story. You agree?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good. Born and raised here in Houston, Texas, been here all my life. Moved a couple of times, but found myself moving back. And the domestic violence part of my life, or came into my life, when I was in my 30s. And along with the domestic violence, you see, I had a reason for staying in the relationship. It was drugs. It was drugs. Because my abuser was my what? My dope dealer. Okay? So, you know, those two wounds pretty much occurred simultaneously. And I endured, I stayed, I survived and went back. I mean, after being bounced off the walls for 2 or 3 hours and having to call my mother to come and pick me up and take me to the emergency room, no sooner than the physical wounds healed, I was right back there. But I'm so grateful because when I look back at that, I said, I must have been out of my mind. Yes, I was. I was totally out of my mind. So for anyone that has not taken the moment to say, why do I keep staying in this? Every woman that's spoken so far has talked about the importance of what? Your mind. I always encourage people to take care of their mental health. People are always so prone to take care of their physical health, but their emotional and their mental health, it seems to get neglected. Why is that? One of the reasons I believe is that because we are a part of people who didn't believe in talking about anything outside the home. Didn't want anybody to know that their daughter was addicted to drugs. Didn't want anybody to know that she, got pregnant at an early age. Let's cover it up. And that is the worst wound of all. Because what happens is you suffer in silence. We suffer in silence. I'm not going to tell anybody because I don't want to make my family look bad. Well, my family get over it. I need to do what I need to do to take care of who? Me. Because I have to be my first priority. Because if I'm not, and I don't take care of me, I'm not able to take care of anybody else.
That's right. That's right.
And being a mother, I needed to be able to take care of my children. Not only did I survive the domestic violence in my life, my children survived it. My children experienced it, and they survived it. By the grace of God, today, we are all much healthier. And I am forever grateful. what I did find out, because I went to treatment for my substance abuse in 1988, and I found out that, you know, I hadn't totally lost my mind. I had just been on drugs. And so going to treatment helped me to identify a lot about myself and a lot about what I had experienced. Because I always thought that it was my fault, you know. If I hadn't chosen to be with him, then, you know, it wouldn't have happened. But it wasn't that simple. It wasn't that simple. And what I found out was that I had been a victim. I did not know I had been a victim. I just thought it was, you know, the way the relationship went. And that, you know, everybody else I was hanging around doing drugs, so, you know, I'd fit in, you know. I don't want nobody to say I wasn't cool. But I was a victim. I had been a victim. And so, once I got the information, it was very important for me to do what with it? Apply it in my life. I tell all clients that I've ever had, information without application is simply information. In order for it to benefit me, I have to apply it. I have to apply it to my life. I have to remain honest, open, willing, and teachable. And I have to trust the process. Because healing is a process. It doesn't happen overnight. I didn't become addicted to drugs overnight. So my recovery from that life event didn't happen overnight. There were some rough times, there were some, you know, stumbles, and I failed. I got up, dusted myself back up, got right back on that horse, okay? Because that's the only way. I can't lie to myself and say that because I'm in recovery from abuse, because I'm in recovery from addiction, that life is just going to be one big party. No, it is not. Life is still going to be life. So, after being blessed to be a survivor of these things, God saw fit to put me in the field, and I ran from it. I'm gonna be honest with you, I ran from counseling for about 15 years. I had people telling me, other counselors would tell me, ooh, you should be a counselor. I don't want to do that. I ran from it. And once I stopped running, and I was talking to somebody the other day, I don't know how I ended up in counseling school. I moved to Austin, Texas, and the next thing I know, not only was I in counseling school, but the state was paying for it all, so how could I not go? And what I have identified since that time is that it is my purpose. And there is nothing like knowing you are living your purpose. And it's my passion. I have a passion for helping others. And my life is the better because I help others. Because what I learned was when I help you, I get something from it too. I get just as much, if not more, because it helps me identify the things that I still need to work on. Just because I'm a counselor, just because I have a license, just because I have a degree in biology, in psychology, doesn't mean I have to stop working on me. I have to work on me on a daily basis. That's the key. Once you identify and take that first step, you have to keep putting in the work, as my sons would say it. You got to keep putting in the work. Life is going to bring some things to you that's going to make you want to go back to some addictive behavior. Because addiction is not about drugs or alcohol. Addiction is about behavior. That is why today we have numerous 12-step programs for, anything you can think of. Gambling, sexual addiction, what else? Eating, alcohol. They use the same 12 steps, and that first step is the same in all of them, is when you admit that there's a problem. And you decided you want to do something about it. You want to make a change.
Yes.
Change is not easy. Most people don't like change. However, in order to get the best out of yourself and your life, you must embrace change. Most people don't like it because it means giving up something. Especially when we come to the eating part, like, what? I can't eat no pound cake, are you serious? But it's a necessary part of it. So once I identified the problem, when I got some help, found myself in the profession, then I identified the fact that I did not know how to love me. I have been in relationships and professed my love, from an early age. And of course I told my children I loved them every chance I got. But then I had to get about the business of learning to love Mavis. First, I had to believe that I could love Mavis. Because there was not I love you was not a phrase that I heard when I was growing up. And that's not to say, maybe my mother didn't hear it either. Because we can't give away what we don't have. In order to give it away, I have to have it. And so, because I didn't hear it, when I took myself through all those life changes, it was like, am I even lovable? Maybe that happened because I'm not lovable. Maybe that happened because, I'm not worthy of being loved. Maybe I put myself in that position because that was where I was supposed to be. Oh, but by the grace of God, I found out different. And the day that I did, no. Okay, no. Not me. Today I love who I am, and that means I love God. Because He made me. And you know that old saying, God don't make no junk. So, I'm all good. I have my days where life presents something to me that's a bit challenging, but at 63 years old, accomplishing a bachelor's degree, I don't think there's anything to match it, I have been blessed to be a survivor only by the grace of God and a willingness to learn. I had to be taught how to love myself. I had to be taught how to identify warning signs of domestically violent individuals. And I think those are very important. That in order for you to know how to protect yourself, you have to be able to identify what you need to protect yourself from, correct? Right. So you have to know the warning signs, and I just happen to bring a few. They call them how to spot signs of domestic violence. First, and they gave them names. Watch out for pit bulls and cobras. Those are deadly animals, right? So the first thing they said that you could spot that would help you identify, but this page won't turn, is demands. You know, demands. Go change that picture on, girl, that was a good one. Go change your picture on Facebook. Excuse me? Really? Okay. But common warning signs of an abusive partner include forced isolation. Oh, my family just invited us over for dinner. I don't feel like going. We don't need to go. Today, you know what I said? Oh, okay, you don't feel like going. Okay, I'll see you when I get back. All right, I learned to do that. Because, you know, in the past, it was like, oh, okay, call them up. Oh, we're not going to make it. I'm going to make it. Okay, another sign is emotional abuse. Emotional abuse, I have been told and I have witnessed, is worse than physical abuse. The physical abuse, the wounds heal. Put something on them and they heal. Put a Band-Aid over it, do whatever. But emotional abuse is lasting. It's lasting. And even after you go and get the help that's going to help you move beyond it, you still need to make sure that you do little checks on your emotional health. Okay, another one is jealousy. I saw you looking at when we were in the mall. Who? Okay. And this can also include not allowing you to call or speak to people without their permission. The next one is inconsistent explanations. Okay? And that comes from the victim. You know, you go to a function and they say, girl, what happened to your eye? Oh, girl, I ran into the door. I forgot it was there. Inconsistent, you know, explanations. And then you got to remember what lie you told.
Absolutely. That's right.
Oh, I thought you said you ran into the door. Oh, I forgot it was something else. Don't do that to yourself. Property damage. When they start tearing up stuff in your house, I had one, and I got home from work, and the phone was in pieces. When he got home from work, his stuff was in the box on the right. To the right, what you say? What did I say? No. To the right, to the right. Okay, there your stuff is right there. That's that. Because if you damage some property, I'm not going to wait around and see if you're going to want to try to damage me. No. We're going to be smarter than that, okay? And abuse, substance abuse, alcohol and drug abuse is sometimes an escape for a victim of domestic violence and sexual abuse. I know because I've treated many, many women that said things just got so bad. I said, well, I might as well go get high because it makes me forget about it. And my response was, okay, was anything different when your high wore off? No. Okay, so that's not the solution. And then injuries in multiple stages of healing. If you, girl, your other eye was like that last week. Now the other one, girl, I got French doors. Boom, they got at the same time. But bruises are just the most common form of injury, you know, and they turn different colors and stuff. And those are just warning signs. Warning signs. Let me tell you something. The internet is my best friend. You can go there and Google anything, any subject. I learned how to drive a standard vehicle from instructions off the internet. Okay? Had never driven one in my life. I burned up a clutch, but I learned. You know, it takes practice. And, you know, the more you practice, the better you get at it. And it's the same thing with healing. Allow yourself to practice healing. Allow yourself to practice feeling worthy, feeling good about who you are. I recently listened to a message from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and it caught my eye, the topic of it, because it was the divine value of women. And I said, wow, that sounds like something I want to listen to. So I can discover and uncover my divine value. And he said things like, where there are no decent women, there are no decent men.
Absolutely.
He said, everything that comes into this world, like Brother Deric said, came through a woman. He said that we have to value ourselves and teach others how to value us as well. Because they are going to treat me the way that I teach them to treat me. If I teach them that that's okay for you to knock me around, that's what they're going to do. But if I say no and mean it, you gotta mean it. When you say no, you have to mean it. You can even put the H word with it if you want to. No. Not here. Not in my life. Because I'm worth more than that. I'm too valuable. And when someone can tell me how valuable I am, and I believe it, then I can live my life in a much more peaceful, is the word that comes to mind, way. Because when I was in all that stuff, I had no peace in my life. I had no peace within, because there was no peace without. But today, I'm just grateful. I'm so grateful that God has allowed to place me in a position where I can help other women. Now, I've had some male clients, but the majority of programs I've worked at have been for women. And I'm okay with that. I'm all right with that. I do have a counseling and consultation business. It's called the Overcomers Foundation. And God gave me that nugget, the name, 7 years ago. And very quickly, just another wound that I turned into wisdom is, my beautiful bald head. After having hair for over 50 years, I had hair. And then God decides that, I gave you this beautifully shaped head, so, you don't need no hair. But it's something that I found women live with that I had never heard of. It's called alopecia areata. So when I saw the first bald spot, I was like, oh, because I was taking down some braids that I had gone to this new shop to get done, and these South Africans, I think they were, had done them very, very tight. So when I saw the first bald spot, I was getting ready to take them out. I'm like, oh, these braids took my hair out. I got on the phone and called that shop. I'm going on to ma'am, you have to come in so we can see it. So once I calmed down and went back to look, if a braid breaks your hair off, it leaves a root.
Right.
Baby, this was a spot that was bald as a baby's bottom. Clean, just clean. Oh my God. So over a period of time, at that time I was preparing to take the LCDC exam, so I didn't stop to find out what it was. I always tell clients, when you suffer a loss, you have to allow yourself time to grieve it. I don't care what it is. And so I didn't stop to take the time, but a couple of months later, I had to, because it started to affect me emotionally.
Yes.
And I went to the dermatologist. He told me what it was, and I went back and tried an injection one time, and I'm like, no, you will not be sticking me in my head with a needle. I don't know. No. And as I would have it, I can't do wigs. I tried. I can't. I wore a wig to work one day, and when I got in the car, it came out. So if anybody was looking, they were like, ooh, she took it. Yes, I can't do that. So, also, when you experience a loss, you need support. When you experience a loss, you need support. When you experience a transition, you need support. When you make the decision to change something in your life, you need support. What did I just tell you about the internet? Went on the internet, I found the most awesome group of support. And it's called Bald Girls Do Lunch. Yeah. And I attended my first luncheon in Manhattan, New York. And ever since then, I've been meeting women all over this country who are bald like me or who decide that they need a wig and they spend lots of money for them. I'm like, no. But the support was amazing. And this, I mean, it even afforded me an opportunity to be on nationwide TV on the Today Show. Okay? And the interviewer asked me, Amy Robach, she said, so Mavis, tell me, what do you think about living with alopecia? I said, well, I think it's wonderful because if I hadn't had it, you never would have asked me to be on your show. True, true. Okay? So that is one of my support groups. I have several support groups in my life. And I am grateful for each and every one of them because they help me live life. Because making a change is going to mean living life differently. And some of those times you're going to need to get on the phone and call somebody. So get one of my flyers, and anytime you want to call me, day or night, please do so. Thank you.